This is Vic Patel with Craft Express.
My name is Ashley from Artistry.
It's Gavin, founder, creator of Seps.io, and you're listening to
Two Regular Guys podcast,
Hosted by
Terry Combs RG, Regular Guy,
and Aaron Montgomery.
The place to be for industry news.
The best dad jokes on earth, along with relevant topics to apparel decorators.
Prepare for the wild.
All right, welcome into the show. It is Friday, January 16th, 2026. I'm Terry Combs, and you can find me at terrycombs.com.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery with our Success Group and also American Print and Supply. And Terry, we've got a good friend of ours coming back this week. We've had Angie on several times. She's kind of becoming a regular here, and we like that. So Angie's going to be joining us to talk about Beyond the Booth, how to tackle trade shows like a pro. And with Long Beach, Impressions Long Beach coming up next week, I think the timing is very, very good. So if you are watching this live right now, make sure that you go and share this with your fellow decorators out there, because I think there's going to be a lot of golden nuggets that people can take right into next week.
Absolutely. A great way to get started into a new year of trade shows. So stick around to the end for the secret sauce. I'm going to be sharing another screen printing basics. Registration starts on the exposure unit. Ooh. Sounds exciting, but
hey, when you're out of registration all the time, it's very exciting to learn this.
It matters. It matters.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. It's going to be great. Let's see here. We got somebody checking in already here. Hey, Terry, been a while. I'm back in the print game and happy to listen to you chat again. Hope it's all well with you fellas. So
awesome.
Great to have you here. All right. Well, yeah, Terry, we are excited to get to all that, including having Angie here in just a moment and your secret sauce here at the end. But another one of our favorite aspects of Two Regular Guys these days is the amazing partnerships that we have with our friends that are, quote unquote, the news media, friends like The Apparelist, who share the news with us each and every week. So it's been since last year that we've seen Cassie, all those, but we're going to be excited to welcome Cassie back in here, Terry. So are you ready for the news, sir?
I'm ready. Let's hear the news from The Apparelist.
Hey, everybody. Yes, I am so excited to be back for 2026. And yes, if you are going to be in Long Beach next week, let's connect. Let's chat. I'm excited to get back going in the industry. Until then, I do have some industry headlines for everybody. First up, Atlantis Headwear celebrates 30th anniversary. So Atlantis Headwear celebrated its 30th anniversary by welcoming distributor partners from around the world to Jesolo, Italy, for a 3-day global meeting titled 30 Hats Later. The event brought together authentic conversations, shared reflections, and exclusive product previews. Guests also received a special video message from Sir John Kerwin, who's the former All Blacks rugby player. He shared a powerful reflection on courage and authenticity, reinforcing the growing partnership between Atlantis and the New Zealand national team. In addition, leadership presented an exclusive preview of the upcoming 2026 collection. So if you want to read more, click on the headline. There are lots of names included in that for the Atlantis leadership, but frankly, I was struggling to pronounce them, so I left the names out of this newscast, but you can get some specifics there. Second headline, Bella Canvas partners with SETI for 3D garment modeling. So Bella Canvas has partnered with SETI to digitally reconstruct its garments in true-to-life 3D. So this has been a kind of a sticking point of the apparel manufacturing industry for a long time, is making garments, fit the right way. So this is kind of pretty cool, innovative technology. Through the partnership, Bella Canvas styles are now available in SETI Decorator, which is a visualization and communication platform. Each garment is digitally modeled using Bella Canvas's production bill of materials and construction specifications, capturing fabric drape, structure, fit, and color. Powered by 7 years of research and development and several patented innovations in digital textile and garment simulation, SETI's advanced 3D engine models apparel down to the seam and stitch in an easy-to-use format. Finally, for all of you today, Stahl's Transfer Express celebrates brand refresh with giveaway. Transfer Express unveils a rebuilt digital platform and a refreshed brand identity under a shorter, bolder name, TXP. According to a press release, the new TXP website delivers faster ordering, smarter tools, and improved design support, all backed by the same high-quality custom transfers the industry has trusted for more than 35 years. To celebrate the launch, TXP kicks off Tees and Transfers, which is 7 weeks of t-shirts and transfer giveaways, giving customers the chance to win apparel credits and transfer credit added directly to their TXP account. So there were actually quite a few additional headlines this week, so make sure you visit apparelist.com. And yeah, see y'all in Long Beach. Thanks, guys.
Right. Thank you, Cassie. And as Dean said, Cassie is the coolest. I would 100% agree with said comment there. So appreciate that, Dean. Oh, sorry, Eric. I've got to not push buttons. My bad. All right. So, Terry, anything stand out in there for you?
I always wonder about the rebranding. I know everybody needs to freshen things up, but the name Transfer Express has been around for decades, and you think Transfer Express, you think transfers, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but hey, I know that there's a gazillion more transfer people, and I'm sure they're trying to keep up, but
Differentiate, yeah, keep up. Like
yeah,
you said, I agree.
yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah,
how about you? How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that to me also, yeah, stood out, right? Like interesting, you know, and where you heading? But yeah, I get it, right? Some things happening in my world here soon that I can't talk about yet, but we'll be looking at some similar things happening over in my neck of the woods where I get to hang out with the boys over there at American Print and Supply. So,
and one other thing stood out to me. We could certainly have done this show from Italy. So next time that they do that,
yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
us.
Let's make that happen. Whoever's in charge of that, Cassie, if you could send that message for us, that'd be great. Yeah, but now obviously we've got to take Cassie with to do the live news update. I mean, all this stuff, we get it. You know, Eric, Angie, the whole crew, we'll be ready to go. All right. Well, let's talk to a couple of the regulators here as they're starting to file in. We've got Cindy Knight. Good morning from Odessa, Texas. And then earlier I missed. Sorry, Doug. I saw that as everything was happening. So we've got Doug checking in from Los Angeles, California, and I'm pretty sure he'll be at Impressions. So make sure you guys all connect out there. And then Dean says, got to update those horns for 2026. So I love it. All right, Terry, another popular segment of the Two Regular Guys is always the dad joke. And we've been trying to live up to the standard that Cassie has set for us in the intro there. I
always look again at my dad joke when I know Cassie's going to be on.
You have to like really, you're like, okay, I got to step it up. But I think
that's worthy.
I think it's worthy. So, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
Hey, Aaron, did you know I had a job interview at UPS?
No, very interesting. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I apologize for being late because I went to the wrong address and they made me a regional manager.
See, and also I think not only a great dad joke, but topical for, you know, everybody coming out of the holidays and, you know, any trouble we may have had with shipping.
You know, when I got my new Terry's Big Book of Travel, the first one that came got delivered, and I went out and looked, and I looked at the picture, and when I made my claim with UPS, they said, well, it's on your porch. And I'm like, it's on someone's porch, but that's not my porch.
I love it. I love it. And Kim Johnson with her usual face palm for your dad joke. Love it. And thank you, Cindy. I appreciate the correction. You know me, names are not my strong suit, so I always love the help. So I appreciate that. All right, Terry. Well, you want to give us a little bit of housekeeping before we get Angie in here?
Yeah, absolutely. We want to thank everybody for checking in to the Two Regular Guys podcast. We still need your voices. We would love to have the regulators participate in our show intros. Go to osg.link/intro, read a few sentences, be a part of every show. Don't be left out. We are always looking for new guests. So if you or anyone you know would like to join us, go to calendly.com/2, the number 2, regular guys to book a future episode. You can also email us at info@tworegularguys.com with your show ideas. If you are listening to the podcast version of the show, we would appreciate you sharing the Two Regular Guys podcast with all of your industry friends so they can become regulators too. We would appreciate you giving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Podcast, YouTube Podcast, wherever you do your podcast listening, we are there. And if you're watching us live right now, please join in with your comments, your questions, and your thoughts on working trade shows on one side of the aisle or the other.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely excited to hear everybody's take on all this. And Cindy did mention, Terry, going back to the dad joke real quick. I'm sorry to get off track, but that's me. We're still waiting for a FedEx package from December. So, it's not just UPS, not just the post office. FedEx has the same issues. Yep. So,
just like 2 days ago, my neighbor and I, we switched packages. She had mine, I had hers. So.
Anyway. Yep. Well, it is a industry that's ripe for disruption. We'll put it that way.
There you
go. And then Dean had a pretty good dad joke in there. Terry, did you see that one?
I did not.
There you go.
I have to move.
What has more letters than the alphabet? The post office.
But I'm.
All right, Terry, are you ready to bring Angie in here?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's welcome Angie back in. And hello, Angie. Good to see you.
Hello.
Great. Hey, Angie, welcome back. It's a new year. I know you did this not very long ago, but before we jump in, remind our listeners about you and your story in the industry.
Perfect. So I've been doing this for 5 years. I started very small in sublimation, and then I branched out to buying my first DTG and then working with DTF, and now I'm at trade shows and pretty much everywhere now, it feels like.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I think that's so cool, right? That we get to connect and you get to share your journey, right? Terry and I may have been doing this for a while. We won't say how long sometimes, but just again, going from where you're at to where you are now. And we appreciate you coming here to give us your perspective about, how can we utilize these trade shows, right? Like we think about, we're going to go to a trade show. It'll be fun. It'll be great. But, there's investment here and there's, things that we got to think about, right? Whether it's an industry trade show or an event or whatnot. But so I guess I'd like to start off there, right? You're going to be out in Long Beach with your friends at UxPrint, which we see right behind you there. At some point during the show, maybe you share the booth with us. But when you personally are looking at evaluating a trade show, are there some signs that kind of have showed up for you over the 5 years that you've been doing this that tells you one's worth your time and investment over another?
Absolutely. There's a lot of things that go into it. And I'm so glad that you kind of recognize trade shows as an investment because you're investing in yourself. They sometimes, with travel and hotels and everything, it does get costly when you're adding education in. Sometimes that number can be a little bit daunting when you add everything up.
Yeah.
But my first trade show was Impressions Expo in Atlantic City. At that time, that was a really big number. And that was me, flying rental car, driving the rest of the way because I was on a really tight time schedule there. And then, I bought an education pass. That's where I kind of connected with everyone and met everyone. That's where I met you, Aaron, and the whole gang. So for me, going into it, I was like, I'm spending all of this money, and I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't know what the education was going to be like. I just kind of went into it a little bit blind, going, hey, someone said I need to go to trade shows. So,
Now what?
let's just
Right?
kind of try. Yeah. Just like, okay, I'm here.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. And then, once I got there, I was like, ooh, okay. So like regular business stuff is awesome and cool and fun, but this is like you take like your county fair and then you go to a state fair. Like this is just like over the top, and there's a lot going on here, and it's easy to get overwhelmed. But I think that part of your investment is how you want to invest your time. You've invested your money. Now let's invest our time in the best way that that your business can come out of it, having better practices, learning more about the things that are important to you. And that's not a one size fits all. What was important to me the very first trade show is not important to me at this trade show. And as far as deciding where and when I'm going to go, Long Beach has been on my bucket list ever since before I even went to, my first expo.
Yeah.
So this one is a little bit full circle and a little bit bittersweet for me, because I kind of I get to go to the one that's been on my list for the longest.
Yeah. That's cool. And
Yeah,
Terry,
go
ahead, Terry.
Printing United is a national show. All the other shows are regional except for Long Beach, and people will be there from all over the country. But my very first trade show also was Atlantic City, and it was not the same one you went to. It was
And you may have not been born yet, Terry, but we won't talk about that.
Probably were not born yet when I went to my first show. But I remember that feeling too. You walk in, you're like, "What am I doing here?" These people are all experts, by the way. Everybody here is an expert at what they do. Everybody but me. Little did I know. But so let's talk about that investment. It is. I don't want to say expensive, but yeah, it's a bit of cash that you're putting out there. What does a strong pre-show preparation look like for you? And what do you think most people are skipping in their preparation that hurts them in the long run?
I think a lot of people just book it. They book their education class to it, or they decide, hey, I'm not quite sure about education. And they just kind of show up, and there's no real game plan behind anything. So what my prep looks like is I've connected with people throughout various Facebook groups that I'm in, on Slack, through different people, and I've kind of had my plan. Okay, who's going to be there? Who do I want to talk to? What appointments can I set up ahead of time? And this isn't just, this isn't Angie talking from sales position in UxPrint. This is Angie talking like, hey, there's some people that personally I need to talk to in Long Beach. And I'm setting aside that time to go have those conversations with them. There's some people in there that, hey, we touched base at the last trade show we went to, which was Printing United, and we need to catch up and kind of see where we're at on everything, see if we can get some orders launched off from UX. And then there's some things that for my personal business, I'm like, hey, it's time to kind of implement some stuff into business, and these are some things I really want to check out and be able to implement in 2026. So I think definitely if you're skipping the education portion of it, you're missing a big part of the trade show. But if it's not in your wheelhouse to be able to spend the extra money for education, there's plenty of educational opportunities on the floor as well. And it's a good way to get your feet wet. There's those shop talks, the panels that they have put together. Those are great too. And it's kind of what you can do at the time. I tell everyone, don't do more than what you can, because there's always another trade show in a few weeks to a month. So if you can't do one, there might be
another. Panels, those people that you're in the free education, you can grab them as they're coming off the stage, and 99.9% of them are happy to stand there and answer questions for you. So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I love that. I love, again, just thinking about the connections you want to make. Cause I definitely know, obviously been to a couple of shows in my day, and the fact of the matter is, when I go into a show with a bit of pre-show preparation, right? With, hey, who's going to be there? Where are you going to be? And I get that list together, that I can, okay. Cause you go to a show and you think, oh yeah, great, I'm going to go see this person, but it always happens where you go and there's something happening here, you get drugged somewhere else. And so if you don't have that intentional plan of like, okay, I got taken off track here a little bit, but I need to go back to my list. And did I talk to Angie? Did I go, make sure that I got a dad joke from Terry, right? Whatever that is for you. I think that's really important for people to understand, is that pre-show preparation, figuring out who you're going to talk to, even mapping out, even in the smaller shows, I think kind of mapping out your plan as to where you're heading and what's the intention, right? Like, I always like to look at shows, regardless of which side of the aisle you're sitting on, and say, what's my goal? What am I trying to get out of this? If I get to the end of that show and I look back and I go, okay, that was a success, what does that mean? And so I think you're really hitting it on the head, and don't sleep on the education and the networking opportunities and all that stuff, and building relationships. So, yeah, thank you for sharing that. Because Terry and I did talk. In fact, everybody knows that we're big proponents of the shows and getting out and touching and feeling. Terry and I, through the post-COVID years, when things were like not pretty lean for the shows, we wanted to do everything we can, because we know our industry needs those shows, right? Yep. It's not. I was great to see some of the innovations and opportunities to, connect with people more digitally. But the fact of the matter is, our industry is a tactile industry, and we need to touch and feel and shake hands and all that stuff. So, but I think having you share why it's important to you as a decorator, and now somebody that's also a vendor as well, I think that's, for me, full circle too. So thanks for that. All right. So here's the next question I want to ask you. Because of what I just shared there, right? You have worked shows for multiple sides. You've been just there as a decorator, trying to learn, build connections, that type of stuff. And then, you've also done your own shows as a decorator, right? Whether that's, fairs, craft fairs, whatever it is, where you're selling your decorated wares, to now even in your role there with UxPrint, where you're now a vendor to the trades as well. Like, you've seen a lot of different sides of this. And so what's your approach look like when you're on the attendee side of the aisle versus when you're on the I'm behind the table hoping to share what I offer with folks? How do you, what's the different approach there, especially when it comes to building relationships?
So the approach isn't much different between the two, because I'm operate sales a little bit differently. I'm about building relationships, and I want to know how you're doing. I want to know where your shop's at, and I don't want to know where your shop's at just because I want to, make that quick sale. I want to kind of build relationships within the industry, as I've done since the very beginning. And that's kind of my goal to it. The people that come by the booth, when they do come by the booth, I interact, I talk to them, I see if it's a good fit, where we can fit. But more importantly, I want to know how their business is doing. And what I've learned over the years is, just because you're not ready to take a leap from, the spot that you're at to the spot you want to go to, there's some stepping stones in between. And when we nurture those relationships going forward, can turn into a sale. When I am the attendee and I'm there, I'm looking at which businesses are willing to build relationships with me, who wants to kind of take a minute to learn more about what I'm doing to help me understand, where I need to be going or what direction I should be looking or what my next steps would be. And that was a very big part of my first few trade shows that I went to is, who kind of cared about what I was doing over, hey, we have this service or we have this equipment, let us sell it to you. And you'll get a trade show discount and you'll be able to take it home. And those things are great, but, the connections are definitely where it's at.
1,000%.
Yeah,
So
agreed.
So,
Terry, sorry, can I interrupt you real quick?
sure. I'm sorry.
Because one thing that Angie just said there really stood out to me too. A lot of gold nuggets there. But if you're somebody that is on the vendor side, right? Angie's not alone in the fact that people want those relationships, right? So if you're treating them like a transaction, let me scan your badge, it's super busy, and are you buying or not? Go away, right? Like, I know there's a balance, right? When you're busy, you gotta, you can't just chit chat the whole time. But the fact of the matter is, people come to trade shows to build relationships, and so you gotta, as the salesperson, right? And regardless of whether this is our industry show or you out there offering your products to the public, it's still about the relationship. So I just wanted to make sure that was a clear point. Yep.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Angie. So you'll see people walking around. They've got their backpack. They've got their shoulder bag. What are your must-have tools, materials, systems, ideas that you bring to every show to make life easier after the show?
So I have an iPhone. You're either team iPhone or Android. I'm sorry. But I will have my iPhone out there and I have that note app and I'm speaking into my phone the entire time and I'm letting it dictate everything that I think while I'm there. I don't have time to write it down and I don't have extra hands. I'm going from this booth to that booth. And on my way, I have to say everything that I was thinking from the last booth until I get to the next booth, and then I'll sort it all out later. And there's some great AI tools for that. I will upload the whole notes document into ChatGPT and have it summarize it, and it makes my life easier, so I don't have to actually go back through anything and try to make sense of what I was saying. ChatGPT has learned kind of how I do things through the course of the past year, so it has a pretty good handle on that. I am taking a printout. I will take one printout with me, and the booth numbers, I'll either go through and highlight the booth numbers or I'll just highlight the booths out there of places I want to visit. But just that first show lap where you stay in the middle of the aisle. We're not veering left. We're not veering right. We're staying in the middle of the aisle. We are just kind of walking and just kind of taking it in. And just kind of do your first lap around. And then, that's where you find your people. So if I know Aaron's going to be at this event and I see Aaron and Aaron's not talking to anybody, that's my chance to grab Aaron and say, hey, Aaron, I need to talk to you. I have questions. And that kind of gives the ability to kind of see what the flow in the booth is like and if it's a good time to have a conversation or not a good time to have a conversation. Because once you start scanning that badge, you're going to start to get some free stuff, and then your time's going to go past, and it's like doom scrolling on Facebook Reels, and then before you know it, it's time for the trade show to be over.
Yeah.
So, try to map out your priorities, whatever those look like. If you're doing education, you have an hour break. Where are you hitting up on your hour break? And just have all that information ready to rock and roll. And take a good pen with you, like a good pen. Take a Sharpie with you if you want to. I like Sharpies, but there's so many different printed materials that you may want to write on. some of them will write on, coated cardstock. Some of them won't. Some of them you have to have plain paper. I take at least one Sharpie or marker type and take a pen, and
Nice.
don't skimp on the pen. Go
I like
find the expensive one and
There you
just
go.
buy it. It's okay.
It's worth it. Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, and as much as you think you'll remember, you won't. You write those things down.
Yeah.
Write it right on the front of the brochure or whatever.
Yeah, that's a good point. Hey, this is a great question, I think, for everybody. In fact, the regulators, I'd love to hear what your go-to tools are at a show. Terry, what's your go-to tools? We're going to make this a collaborative effort here too. Great suggestions from you.
Will I embarrass myself by saying my junior yellow legal pad?
No.
And people will see me, and I'll have this tucked in the back. The back of my pants.
And he's like, "Whoa, where'd that come from?"
either whether I'm a vendor or an attendee, I'm writing notes down, because again, as much as you believe you're going to remember who you talked to about this or that price, it all becomes a blur. And a little side note: the longer you're in the industry, the longer that first walkthrough takes, because you're going to be running into people, and the first real show after COVID, I mean, we vendors were walking around and people were in tears. They hadn't seen each other in years, and hugging. And so anyway, that walk around longer and longer, the longer you've been here. So,
yeah, that's good stuff.
But sorry, I got off the subject. What's
your
go-to, Aaron?
Yes, no, I love it. And again, both what you and Angie said, I piggyback on that. And again, I want to hear what you guys, the regulators that are tuned in right now. Eric says, I just take copious amounts of pictures, including of documents and cards. I can process anything with Lens once it's an image, right? Yeah, that's awesome. There's an app. I can never remember what it's called, Doug says. So the other thing that I think would be my go-to tools, Angie mentioned it, right? You just make sure you have a good pen. The other thing is make sure business cards, great. But I also make sure that I use an app called Hi Hello, and you can just scan. So I can have somebody just scan that QR code, and all my contact information gets transferred over to them. And if they choose, then they can send their contact information back to me. So, I think it's a way to, just connect with people, but then have a clear, like, great, you got my information. If you send me your information, I will follow up and have X, right? So I think if we're talking about what a tool or system or something like that is, just having that, plan to then follow up and let them know that you're going to be following up. So you hold yourself accountable to that. Right. So, either side, right. So I know for sure I've had people come up to me when I was there in a vendor capacity, and they've said, hey, what about this? And I'm like, well, that's, not something I can take care of here. But I'm like, if you'll reach out to me on Monday, here's my card, then I will follow up. Right. And I get very intentional about that, because in the past I would just be, I'll get you that information. And then you've got so much going on. So I'm like, you know what? I want the serious people. Like, if you're not going to take the time to then follow up with me, then, and so both sides of the aisle, right? If you're on the buying side of the aisle, that might be a test for you, right? How serious is this person about the relationship? Say, will you follow up with that information with me by Monday? Here's my card. Otherwise, I'm not giving you my card. So.
In the same vein is that don't go to the show anticipating getting trained on things. We've seen 1,000 times somebody walk up and saying, hey, can you kind of run through the entire software program for me for this machine? No. I mean, we would love to do that, but the show's open for roughly 6-7 hours, and I can't take an hour to spend with you doing that while dozens and dozens of people are walking by the booth saying, "Oh, they're busy. Maybe I'll come back later." So it's your expectations have to be realistic.
Yeah. And so, way to set that appointment. Again, just make those clear. Like, I came here to connect. I want to learn more about the software, and I'm going to need help with it. So I'm here. You see me. We've got that relationship now. Let's make sure that this happens. When can we make that happen? So I love
Right.
that.
Let's
Yeah.
let's connect on Monday, and we'll get you situated with a technician or whatever. So
Yeah, agreed. David Haynes from CorelTrainer.com says new Meta Ray Bans are a great tool. So is that today's version of the Google Glass, the glass holes?
must be. That's
Just kidding, David.
the new Meta Ray-Bans. I think you have to own a Cybertruck to have those, and
Yeah.
of course David does. So.
Yeah, so he's one of these days will be cool. Like David's an awesome dude. So I'm assuming, David, you guys are going to be at Impressions Expo in Long Beach as well. So make sure that you're checking them out along with UxPrints there. All right. Well, I got us completely off track. Shocking. Nobody said. So, okay, Angie, next question for you, right? You talked a little bit about this some, but I want to kind of get your broader perspective on this. How are you using social media before and after the trade shows to kind of maybe extend the life beyond, that moment in the trade show floor?
Yeah, so I am posting. I'll be posting the entire time I'm there. I'm going to post a little bit before. I'm going to do some email warm-ups for people in the area prior to that, just to kind of let everyone know where we're at, where they can find me. Try to set up as many appointments ahead of time as I possibly can. And then after the show, that'll be where social media kind of gets slammed for a little bit with post after post after post, because then I have a better idea of, what people are looking for. Sometimes you go into this stuff and you're like, okay, iGroup Technology is that's the brand. UxPrint is underneath there. RTP Apparel is underneath there. The Viper pretreatment machines, Image Armor. So we have a lot of stuff going on in the booth.
Yeah.
So it's kind of finding out, is this a show where people are more looking for pretreatment? And I can assist with, answering some of those questions or getting those to the those customers to the right people within the organization.
Yeah.
And just trying to figure out how to tailor everything. Because the people that I think that I'm going to run into while I'm there, and the need of the businesses there, and the actual need of what they're coming there looking for, those are different.
Yeah.
And every group of people in these different areas, they're kind of looking for something different. And we have to be solution oriented and not necessarily sale oriented. We want to provide solutions. And if those solutions mean sales, then that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
But if that means that, hey, I just bought bought a heat press and I need shirts. Great. I can help you with shirts, but I also need, a DTG printer, or I need transfers, depending on where that's at, or, hey, I want to go buy a DTF printer. That is, I'm helping them with the t-shirts and explaining, the kind of shirt that they're going to want to look for, or the good qualities in a shirt. But then I'm also pointing them in the direction, 9 times out of 10, walking them over to another booth too. So they say, hey, I want a commercial DTF printer. That's where I'm walking them over to American Print and Supply. If they're like, hey, I need to print bright colors, perfect, I have a company for you. You can print some really awesome brighter neon colors. If they're like, hey, listen, I want to buy a DTG machine, Terry, where are you at? Where's I need to find Terry. He's somewhere over here. And the legal pad, I found you by the legal pad by itself. I was like, oh, that's Terry right there. Legal pads. Legal
Has
pads.
anybody seen a guy with a junior yellow legal pad? Yeah, he was right down here.
Yeah.
Because I'm the only one.
Truthfully, yes, Terry, you're the only one that I know that has a legal pad there. And sometimes it's just getting them over to the right person so we can create an entire solution for them. And that's just kind of, where I kind of stand with it. It's, communication and connection sometimes over the sale.
Yeah, I love it. That's good
Yeah.
stuff. All right.
Well, let's.
Yeah,
I
go,
was,
Terry.
I was just going to say, let's go back 5 years. What is one lesson from an early trade show experience that still shapes how you approach trade shows today?
I would say my first thing would be education. Because when you're on the floor, you're being pulled in so many directions. As a vendor, you're being pulled in all these different directions. But when you pay for education and you sit in that front row of that first class there, and you just participate and you are interactive, you get that person's attention. And when you get that person's attention, you can go up to them afterward. Even if you don't have their attention, you can still go up afterwards and introduce yourself. But that first class and, me going up and, introducing myself and being active in that classroom environment, that has forged a lot of things in this. And that has created pathways that I didn't know that would exist 5 years later. So I would say definitely the education portion of it. You're paying to be part of that. They're going to give you a PowerPoint presentation. I believe you can still download it. I haven't been to education this year yet because we're just getting kicked off here. Those PowerPoints, you're paying for that. You're paying for their time, that they're teaching, and ask your questions.
Yeah.
And there's generally an outline you can download as well. And let me just speak for everybody here at Two Regular Guys. We love when you interact with us when we're doing a presentation. That makes the presentation come alive.
Yeah.
So don't hesitate to raise your hand.
Absolutely. I'll be honest, that's why Angie and I have a relationship, right? She sat at the front row and she interacted with me, and it was a comfortable interaction for me. So, we were able to throwing stuff here. Yikes. Sorry, yes. But anyhow, I also love the point about what kind of comes with it, right? Like, I think that the educators that are worth their salt there are going to have something, right? Something for you to take with you. It's an exchange of value. I mean, heck, you go to Eric's class, you're going to get a freaking 201 or 501 level. Like Eric, if you had that printed, it would be a tome, right? Like, so I tease him about that, but he really truly cares about the people that come and spend their time with them, and he's giving back everything that he can, right? And honestly, Eric's one of those people that goes over and above and makes the rest of us look bad, but that's okay. I'm making him shake his head here. So yeah, that's really good stuff. I appreciate you sharing that understanding, learning that you've had over the time of doing the shows. And I guess, Angie, as we start to wrap this up here a little bit, though, okay, great. We've talked about planning for the show. We talked about what to do at the show, the building of the relationships, even talking about a little bit about the social media. Let's say the week or 2 weeks after a show, what does that look like for you?
That is going to be a whirlwind of 2 weeks after the show. So kind of get situated. I have email blasts going out right after, during the show and after the show. I have those sequences already set up in Mixmax, where they're just going to automatically execute on a day. And that's the time where I figure out, okay, who did I enjoy talking to and who do I need to follow up with? Because I can enjoy talking to somebody and, touching base with them, and I can say, hey, listen, we need to implement some things, and I have to follow up with this person because this is what I need to take my business further, to scale my business, to make it run more smoothly. And I know plane ride home, I will be with my notepad. It's not Terry's legal pad, but the notebook, and I'll be, outlining that stuff on the way home, figuring out who exactly I need to touch base with. And I think by the end of the show, that whole end of day for the last day, some people are packing up, some people are staying, an extra night at the hotel, some people are flying out that exact night. But I think you need to take a little bit of time, I'd say about 12 hours, and just kind of reflect on what all happened, because it is overwhelming a little bit, when there's so many people and there's so much information. But figure out who your top 5 people are that you need to follow up with, and be a little bit selfish about it too. You know, be one of those people that advocates for themselves and really says, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Can you help me achieve this end goal? And if your end goal is to have a supplier for DTF transfers that will have them shipped out same day or next day, and you need them to be close proximity, you need to make sure that you're watering that relationship too. Relationships go 2 ways. You can't just, one person can't just water it. So definitely follow up with those people as quickly as you can. We'll get our trade show scans, a few days after we get back. And then I will be executing a list of follow-ups based on, who I talked to in the booth, who I scanned. And then, just following up with who did I hand samples out to? We will have samples for UxPrint there. And, who did I hand samples out to? Who do I know didn't get samples and I need to ship them out? Say we ran out of a certain size or certain color. And that's kind of what it's going to look like for me.
And as a vendor, I normally, of course, I know what machine or what equipment we talked about, but I also make a note about what did we talk about that had nothing to do with this machine. I remember talking to somebody from Johnson City, Tennessee, and having a conversation that my entire family was born in Johnson City, Tennessee. That way, when I call that person, they go, "Oh, wait, yeah, I remember this guy." I remember talking about Johnson City. So, anyway, that's my secret weapon as a vendor, to make a note about what else we talked about besides, yes, I'm interested in buying a DTG printer. So,
yeah, that's a good point.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, anything we missed today that's going to help people with the show next week, or any upcoming show they're going to go to?
I would say take a deep breath. Just take a deep breath. And, when you walk in, kind of take the look around, take it all in for a second. I do the same thing once Printing United. On setup day, I just kind of stood there in awe for about a minute and a half, and I was just looking around, and I walked around in the circle, and I'm just like, okay, all right, this is going to be pretty cool. But take a second to take it in, enjoy it, have fun. But be confident when you go in there. Tell your story, and you don't realize how many people have been in your exact shoes at some point. We've all started from somewhere. Just because, it's not my year one, or it's not Sarah's year one, or it's not Aaron's year one, doesn't mean that, we don't get nervous or we don't get overwhelmed sometimes. We're people too. And just connect with your people, and, just smile and have a good time.
I agree 100%. And when you go early to those seminars, and say hello to the people next to you, and you might find that you build a relationship with a like-minded person that's going to last for years. So.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I have 5 people from my very first trade show. Anytime I post anything on my social media, they're the first ones that are like, "Hey, good job." And I still keep in contact with them pretty regularly. So, don't discount the people near you.
Right.
And if you show up early, 9 times out of 10, the presenters are kind of joking around, and they're not in presentation mode quite yet, and you get to know them a little bit. So you get the good seats too. Everyone likes to, have their preferred seat wherever they feel comfortable. Don't miss out on your favorite seat location, because it'll throw you off. Surprisingly, it will. If you're a left person and you like to be in the front row on the left side, and that seat's taken, it's gonna throw you off a little bit.
That's the driver's seat up
You're
there.
staring at that guy going, look, he's not even taking notes and he's in my seat.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what's gonna happen. Then you're gonna be talking yourself up about it, and you're not even gonna be paying attention to the whole presentation, because that guy's not even. He's in my seat and he's not paying attention. He's looking around. He doesn't even
Look at
know what's
him.
going on, and
He's on
that
his
is my
phone.
seat. Exactly. He's on his phone. He's not even paying attention.
All right. All right. Well, this has been great. Corel Trainer said, we absolutely love hearing how other vendors approach shows. Thank you for your time, Angie. Dean says, have fun at the show, Angie. Sling those teas. Show up early is a great tip. More energy from all involved. So I love that. Angie, what do you know the booth number that you're going to be in? I actually looked it up, so I was cheating.
Oh, good. I think it's
1319 is
1319.
RTP Apparel's booth. So I believe that's the same, right? You guys are all in that same booth?
Yep, we are. The whole group is going to be in our booth. So
Love it. Love it. So 1319. Sorry, Eric, that was my bad. I might have missed 1319. And then Terry, do you know what booth you're going to be in?
See,
I did look it up.
Perfectly timed, because I just looked it up. 1949.
1949. All right. And then American
He's
Print
going to have to be
Supply.
next.
American Print and Supply will be out with the folks at Rock because they are partnering up with their Impress line. And so you'll find them in 2701, which is the big atrium area out there. So yeah, make sure you stop by and say hi to my friends at American Print Supply. I think I might be the only one in this whole conversation that's not going to be there. And again, I'm trying to tell myself I don't have FOMO. So let's just leave it at that.
Somebody's got to do the show next week.
Yeah, that's right. Somebody's got to do the show, darn it. All right. Angie, thank you so much. This is awesome. Make sure you guys get over to the booth there, booth 1319, and say hello to Angie. And as Dean said, pick up some UX shirts. There's good stuff happening over there, and great stuff that you're doing, Angie. So congratulations.
thank you. Thank you so much.
See you next week.
See ya.
Dean had a little slight at you, Terry. I don't know if you want to bring it up, but he said, Terry, what's your booth number? Not the year you were born. So.
It's close.
All right. Well, what a great conversation. We still got your secret sauce coming up here, Terry, but give us the rundown of we know you're heading to Long Beach, but tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, I'll be in the Equipment Zone booth. We're going to be showing the G6070, Epson G6070 DTF printer, the F2270 DTG DTF printer, and we're going to have some Vastex screen printing equipment in the booth. We're partnering with Vastex on the booth this year.
Cool.
And my complete screen printing business course, my first class for 2026 will be March 21st to 22nd, Atlas Screen Supply in Chicago. You can sign up for that at atlasscreensupply.com and watch for all my upcoming events at terrycombs.com. How about you, Aaron?
Love it. Thank you, Terry. So tomorrow I've got Small Business Saturday happen again. Noon Central Time is when that goes live. And as you see on screen there, Live OSG is where you can find it. But tomorrow we will have a discussion about our messaging, our kind of external messaging out to the world, and the clarity that comes along with that. What we don't sometimes realize is that our human nature is to see unclear messages as a threat. And so our trying to be all things to everyone, catch everybody's attention, actually becomes a threat to a lot of people, and they don't want to connect with you. So we're going to talk about that, and looking forward to having a discussion about what makes a clear message so people can update their marketing. So make sure you're tuning in at liveosg.com, which is my YouTube channel, and subscribe to that page for lots of other great business tips and mindset topics, and anything else that you want me to talk about, just let me know. And then like I said, I will not be in Long Beach. And again, I'm just keep telling myself that I don't have FOMO, and we're going to, it's going to be the, law of attraction type thing. I don't have FOMO, and therefore I'm going to, but that's okay. But I will be on the road here coming quicker than I realize, heading to the Kansas City DAX show, February 20th and 21st at the KCI Expo Center, which is right near the Kansas City airport there. And I will be teaching 2 classes and facilitating one more. So the class that I'm facilitating is actually happening on the Saturday at 8:30 a.m. and it's called DTF 101, From File to Finished Print, What Actually Matters. And I'm going to facilitate this discussion with Rob Super and Sean Stewart from American Print Supply. And we're just going to walk through the real world DTF workflow, all the way from artwork to software decisions to film, ink, color, application, and just kind of highlight some bumps along the road, so to speak, where problems actually begin that we might not be thinking about. And then we'll share what we've seen from the successful shops that we get to work with and how they reduce reprints, wasted time, and frustration. So again, that's Saturday, February 21st at 8:30 a.m. And then on Friday, I'm teaching 2 classes back to back on the 20th. And at 10:30, I'll be teaching The Myth of Everyone is My Customer. Kind of a little extension of what I'm talking about tomorrow on SBS, but I want to share a clear vision of who you serve and how to attract more of the right customers, as opposed to trying to be all things to everyone, where you end up being nothing to no one. So that's the first class, and then you can just hang out right there in the room. We'll take a little 15-minute potty break and come back and talk about, at noon Central Time there, Bye-Bye Burnout. And I just love the title because I just want to say that over and bye-bye burnout. But yeah, I want to share with you some ways that I've learned to prevent burnout from starting and create some sustainable habits that keep your creativity and business thriving. So if you guys want to check me out there at the DAX show, please go over there and register at DAX show. There's no S at the end, daxshow.com, and take advantage. I think there's still early bird pricing happening over there. I didn't check it this morning, but I think that's the case. And then immediately after that, I get home and I get back on a plane to Las Vegas and heading to the International Personalization Expo. Some people call it the APA, like myself. And that's happening February 24th through the 27th at the Horseshoe in Las Vegas. So if you go to Personalizations Pros, with an S at the end of that one, .org, you can check that out. And we'll be at the show, loving connecting with people. It's our American Print Supply's first time attending and exhibiting at this show. But I also get to moderate a panel on brand, business, and growth, strengthening B2B and B2C relationships with Samita Patel of Homebound Custom Decor, Kirk Heim of Heim's Awards, and Josh Perry of Perry Designs. And I'm going to be asking them, how do they position their brands for impact, identity, and engaging ideal customers with the balance of marketing efforts and operational readiness. So going to be a great panel discussion there. Okay, I think I covered everything that I've got coming up. Eric.
Every time you talk about Kansas City, all I can think about is barbecue. So sorry.
That's all right. I was just in Cincinnati, and I'm sure all you think about when I was in Cincinnati was Skyline chili. My wife accidentally kind of made Skyline spaghetti sauce last night when she put cinnamon in instead of garlic powder. So, all right. Eric is got the take up happening this afternoon, and this is the thread break on Expo education. And so inside this episode, Eric welcomes embroidery digitizer pros and amazing educators, Joe Kramer, Katie Wubin, and Justin Armenta, to talk about the 4 of them. They've got their upcoming educational offering at Impressions Expo in Long Beach. So they're going to talk to you about the technique toolkit and the all new roundtable segment and their own individual sessions. So they're going to, obviously, you get 4 really smart embroidery people in the room. They're going to nerd out on embroidery stuff. So we're going to talk embroidery education, the expo, the whole 9. You can check that, check that out at ericcampbell.com on the Take Up tab. And that is live today at 2:30 Mountain Time, 4:30 Eastern Time. And you can join in and share your insights there this afternoon. And then, as mentioned, the Technique Toolkit is back at Impressions Expo. It's coming sooner than you think, like next week, Eric. Just wanted you to update the language there. But Eric, Joe, Justin, Katie, who we just talked about, it's a 4-in-1 workshop all about creating looks for B2B and commercial embroidery that rival that retail and move beyond boring commodity work. So you can register at the Impressions Expo website there. And I think you can, in fact, I know you can still use the code SPEAK 210, speak 210 for 20% off of your full conference passes. And Eric will also be one host of the 4 previously mentioned for an awesome embroidery roundtable at the expo. And plus teaching, he just keeps adding stuff to his list here, teaching simple course on digitizing for caps. I think this is going to be really impactful for anybody in the embroidery world, whether you digitize caps or not. I think understanding the nuances there, Eric does such a good job of sharing that. So make sure you guys are signed up for that. All right. Hi, Michelle. Michelle said, I met you a few years back at the APA with Rena and Jan in Vegas. Absolutely. I definitely remember that, Michelle. Will you be out there this year? I'd love to say hi again. All right, Terry. Whew. We got through all that. Are you ready for some secret sauce, sir?
I'm ready. Let's do some secret sauce. All right, my secret sauce today is some nuts and bolts screen printing basics. Registration starts on the exposure unit. There are few things on the screen printing production floor that will drive you crazy, like setting up a multicolor job and finding one of the screens is burned lower than the others, and it's never the first screen you set up. What I'm referring to is finding that the image exposed on a screen is lower on one screen than the images on the other screens. The result? Starting over again with your setup. Of course, one tip on the screen or on the press is to leave about 3/4 of an inch space between the screen frame and the clamp. That allows a little leeway for lining up your screens. But as the title suggests, secret sauce today is registration starts on the exposure unit. You can, of course, invest cash money in a system for lining up graphics in the exact same place on each screen. There's a system or a device that will do just about anything in this industry. Or you can use my super simple and absolutely free option. It's your choice. Here's the free method. You'll need 2 things, color tape and Scotch tape. For my color tape, I like to use PMI split tape because it's really wide and it's white. Other than that, Scotch tape is Scotch tape. I'm sure there's some former clear tape executive who would differ with me, but just grab that tape you used to wrap your kid's birthday gift. Okay, we're going to start out by lay a screen on your exposure unit where you feel your best exposure is, your ideal positioning of that screen. Next, cut off 5 or 6 inches of color tape. Place the color tape on the glass horizontally along the edge of the screen in the lower right-hand corner closest to you. Now cut another 5 to 6 inch strip and place it perpendicular on the glass along the bottom edge of the screen. You're forming a color tape right angle on the glass. If you want to do the same thing on the left-hand side instead, that's cool too. This isn't exactly rocket science, but it is science. You can just leave this tape on the glass all the time if you only burn one size screen. So remove the screen from the glass and position your first film positive where you want it to burn on the screen. Lay that blank screen back on top again so that you're sure you've chosen the best position, everything's straight and everything's true. So take that test screen off again and do the most important part of this process. Take your Scotch tape and tape the film down on the glass with one piece of tape on the top right corner of the image, the other piece of tape on the top left-hand corner, 2 pieces of tape holding it down. Load your emulsion-coated screen and expose it. After exposure, take the screen to the sink for washout. Now, take your next film positive and lay it on top of the one that you just exposed, right there on the glass. Make sure the registration marks and image line up perfectly with each other. Take your Scotch tape and tape the new film on the bottom left and bottom right corners of the film, opposite of where you taped the previous one. Lift up that second film, grab that film that you just exposed, pull it off, and expose that screen, the next screen that you put on. Repeat, taping top, then bottom, taping top, and then bottom, and so on. When you go to the press, each of your screens will be perfectly aligned with one another. It's the little details that help you be a successful decorator. That's my secret sauce for today.
What a great secret sauce, Terry. I will choose your free method. Yes, please. All right. Well, I think we've done it. I think we've come to the close of another show. We want to thank Angie for joining us here today and appreciate her time and sharing her experiences from all the different aspects and sides of the aisle that she's been on. Make sure you come by Impressions Long Beach in booth 1319 and say hello and tell everyone that tell her that you saw her on the Two Regular Guys, so she knows that you guys are regulators, and I'm sure there'll be a picture involved, maybe a social media post, who knows. So again, thank you, Angie. It's great having you here on the show once again.
Yeah, absolutely. And another guy you'll see all over the show, Eric Campbell. If you are an embroiderer and you're going to the show, you cannot miss his seminars. And of course, we thank Eric for being the show producer and keeping the show moving every day, turning those knobs and blowing those whistles.
Yeah, absolutely. And blowing the whistles, stocking the coal in the coal fire, whatever. Let's go way back into the 1800s here, Eric. But that's how we make this show move. Old school, string and tape. But anyways, thank you, Eric. Appreciate everything that you do for the Two Regular Guys podcast and the industry as a whole. So next week, since you guys are leaving me to my own devices, that is a scary proposition there, but we're going to make it work. So you guys are going to be in Long Beach. I'm going to invite a friend of mine and Masters of Success member Becky Kotzer in to join me, and another great story of kind of a journey in the industry here. And really specifically, I want to get from her how finding her purpose has actually led to profit, and what she's specifically done to focus on profit first. In fact, reading the book by Mike Michalowicz and implementing some of that, and then managing her money in a what I would consider, compared to a lot of the decorators I talk to, somewhat unique. I don't think it's truly unique, but I think her approach at it has got such a smart approach to it that I'm really interested to learn from her. She's actually, I'm just teasing this a little bit here, and we'll talk more about it on Friday because it's still a little ways to go. But she's working on a program that she might be able to share with others called Purpose Plus Profit. So we're gonna dig into what that actually means. And so yeah, I can't wait for that discussion with Becky next week, and we'll try not to burn the place down while you guys are gone.
That sounds awesome. Eric and I might find when we come back, the door's locked and like, hey, what's going on? You guys went off on your own to do this?
There will be still plenty of room in the inn for you guys. Come on back. I can't wait to get you back the next week. So,
all right. Until then, I'm Terry Combs. He's Aaron Montgomery.
And that was the Two Regular Guys.
Here we go. We're out.
Awesome.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Two Regular Guys. We're here because of listeners like you, and we're so grateful to have you on this journey with us. For more valuable insight, be sure to visit our website, 2regularguys.com, and join the conversation on our Facebook page. And hey, if you or someone you know has expertise, a unique perspective, or a story worth sharing, we'd love to have them as a guest on the show. Just reach out. Remember, success in this industry isn't just about the equipment you own or the techniques you've mastered. It's about the mindset you bring and the connections you build. Keep learning, stay curious, and don't be afraid to think differently. Keep pressing on, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Two Regular Guys.